Welcome back to today's episode. Let's jump right into it.
My name is Alan Buck. I am a professor in the communication department at Meredith College. I'm also the director of the digital communication post-bac certificate program at Meredith College.
What is the biggest challenge that you have faced with doing online classes? Obviously, you're going to have to make new lesson plans and change syllabuses and being at home.
That part I knew was going to be just part of the course. Everybody's going to have to adjust at some point. What I'm struggling most with is my video class. I've got an entire class called Digital Media Convergence where the entire class is to go out and videotape a nonprofit that I partner with. And they're supposed to videotape them, interview them, and produce media content for them, so to speak. And we've been working up the entire semester to this point. They're actually supposed to start last Monday of going out in the field and making media, and now we can't. So that's been a tremendous challenge for me, is how do you take something where the whole purpose of the class is to go make media and then turn it online. That's been a struggle for me. The other stuff is just kind of, it's just kind of a pain, but you got to do it. Adjusting syllabus, adjusting attendance, all that stuff. So it's new, but, we're learning, and I'll figure it out sooner rather than later.
How has it been having to work at home with your kids? I know my statistics teacher was telling us that she had to go hide in her garage to film our class.
From what I've been hearing from my friends, that seems to be just like everybody else. It's an adjustment because my wife, too, is working from home. She's got clients. She was on a call with China just the other day, and she had to start early because of their time difference. It's an adjustment. She has her calls to make, and then I've got my classes. So what we do is we sit down every day and say, okay, what times are your calls and what time are my classes? And then we just coordinate our calendars and do it that way. We've got two young kids, an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a third grader, and a kindergartner, and trying to keep them busy. We started with the schedule with them. We've sort of stuck to it. We make the adjustments every day, but doing the best we can. We're slowly getting into a rhythm. There's an area of our upstairs in the playroom that's normally an entire playroom, and there's this back wing. I don't want to say wing. Makes it sound really big. But this back corner of the playroom that was my daughter's, all her doll stuff. Well, we've since moved that to the other side of the room and put a makeshift desk over there. So we've got this very nice-looking area now if we have to FaceTime or Zoom anybody. The background looks nice, but if you move the camera 2 inches either way, you're going to see nothing but kid stuff all over the wall. So we kind of fabricated an area to do video streaming, but that's okay, and the kids are okay with it, but it's a struggle.
And have your kids been doing school at home? And it also, too, I know you were saying that you went on a bear hunt. So what other activities have you been doing to keep them occupied?
Yeah, so we did the bear hunt that I told you about, and that was great. Bears are still up. We were originally just going to keep them up for a day, but people keep asking for a week, so we're going to leave them up for a week. Our neighborhood did sidewalk chalk art, and so they got to write words of inspiration or happy pictures to draw whatever they want, and everybody went around and looked at those. And then, like you mentioned with the tiger rescue here locally, there's been a lot of things that are going live every day, like Cincinnati Zoo does something every day, and that's kind of cool. I just heard of a symphony in New York that does it. So it's a matter of sitting down and trying to figure out stuff they can watch online. Now, we also want to make sure they get out and get fresh air, too. So we've been trying to go outside. I have completely taken over a portion of my backyard, and today's the first nice day we've had in a week, so we're camping out in our backyard tonight. So at least today they can look forward to that. So I've already moved my tent, my chairs, the hammock, and a little fire pit. Looks like a makeshift campground in our backyard, but that's today because the weather's really nice because I don't know if it's going to get cold again. So we've been finding things to do. We obviously all want this over sooner rather than later, but I think for now we're good for at least the short time being, and then we'll just have to reevaluate each day.
Mm-hmm. Being at home and teaching classes, what do you feel like is more beneficial, having that personal interaction in a classroom, or do you think that you can still have the same teaching through the computer?
Now, that's a very good question. And my personality, I need to be around people. And Sydney, you know me, and I like saying, hey, and being sociable. For extrovert, I am literally the definition of extreme extrovert. And so that part's been challenging, but that's a first world problem, right? Like, it's okay that I can not have that for a while. But after a while, that's going to get to me. But as far as academically, I'd say I'm half and half on that. Like my intro to mass comm classes you had last semester, I think it can be done entirely online. Yes, it helps to have interaction and discussion. Like I did miss that. I recorded that lecture Monday of this week, and I just went through the slides and interjected some stuff that wasn't in the slide, that part is very beneficial. So as long as there's a component where the students can ask questions and discuss, I think it can be done. Now, when it comes to my video class, even my social media class that's here and now, like, I'm struggling a little bit with what to do there. So I think to have an online class, I just think it needs to match the curriculum. I don't think you can adapt online to every single class. It just, this video class is going to be impossible, absolutely impossible. There's no way around it. But some classes can do that. And I'm figuring that out.
When we did find out the news that we weren't coming back to Meredith, we were on spring break. As a teacher, that's someone who has built connections with these students, because Meredith is such a small college, how does it feel not being able to see your students or say goodbye to the seniors?
I literally feel like I'm going to cry having you ask that question, and I'm not kidding. Like, I've already cried. I'm very close to my students. A lot of text and reached out, and I've offered to FaceTime. That part's tough, like it is. It's Meredith's small. I know all my students. I know at least all my students, and a lot I know even very well. And some I'm really close to is with, anything else. But that part's been really hard. I didn't realize how hard it was until just a couple of days ago. I was really starting to sink in that it's over for the semester face-to-face. And, yeah, I was crying thinking about it.
I know. I was talking to a senior earlier from Wake County, and they were saying that they never got a chance to say goodbye, and they're not sure about their graduation and everything. But as of right now, Meredith has postponed the commencement.
Correct. That is correct, yes. And they are very clear to not say the word cancel and very clear to say postpone. Absolutely right, yes. It's not going to be in May, and it won't be in Reynolds, but it will be at somewhere at some point. So looking back, whenever that time comes, I think it'll be a celebration like Meredith's never seen before. That I can, say, and what a way to go out. But right now it sure doesn't feel like that. Even
bigger than corn?
I think they're going to do everything in their power to make this special. That's I don't know anything other, like, I'm not dropping hints. I don't know anything that you don't know. You know exactly what I know, but I just know, how much Meredith cares for their students. You know how important these traditions are. Corn's huge, right? And so it breaks every faculty member, staff member's heart that I've talked to that knows that this class got robbed of closure. There was no closure. It was, come get your stuff. We'll figure out later what we're going to do. And it took a few days for it to sink in. I think when it's all said and done, it will be a huge celebration. But when, I have no idea.
So I guess touching on that, do you feel like this situation is making school spirit stronger and bringing us together? Or do you think it's hard for students and staff to kind of have that reassurance of that we all are in this together if we're in our separate spaces?
Well, I'd say because Meredith's so small and such a family, I think that it's nobody's slipping through the cracks that I know of. Everybody I've talked to has done everything in their power to open up their phones and their lines of communication to talk to students. Now, a bigger school, I don't know how they would do that just because it's just a lot more logistics and a lot more people. And, it's harder to do that. You've got thousands and thousands and thousands. Well, we're a small family. I think for Meredith is bringing it together. I've seen people post pictures and, Throwback Thursday hashtags and pictures from past events. I'm seeing the Meredith spirit for sure on social media.
And is there anything else that you would like to touch on about being a teacher with kids at home or just being a teacher in general or with the virus?
It's hard I've been a student and I've been a teacher, so I've been on both sides, but I've never been on both sides of this. And I just want students to know that I'm doing everything in my power that's feasibly possible to make this as good a situation as we can. There is no rule book for this. We can't refer to some manual and say, hey, how did we do it the last virus? Well, I don't know, There is no such thing. So this is new for everybody. I am trying my best. I don't want it to be so strict that I can't imagine the stress level of all the students right now, right? So, on top of losing the year, you now have got to deal with academics. Well, that adds to the angst and the anxiety and the stress and all that stuff. I don't want to do too much to make that worse. Then again, I don't want you to get bored either, and I need you to finish out the semester. So there's some fine balance that I'm taking very serious. I've reached out to my colleagues at other schools. I got a lot of friends at Elon that I've talked to. I've got a friend at the University of Colorado I talked to yesterday about my video class because he teaches video classes, and we had a discussion about that. So I'm trying just as much as my students are, and my phone lines are open 24/7. If anybody needs to reach out, call or text or cry or laugh or whatever, I'm the person they can go to.
So I talked to some other students earlier today, and I guess this will touch with you being a social media teacher about how my generation is so impactful right now, because I think a lot of people want to go out because of the fear of FOMO.
I agree.
So what would you say to that? Should we go out and post our pictures or stay at home?
Oh, I would say stay at home. I was talking to my wife about this just the other day. It's like everybody's light bulb with the situation seems to go off at different times. There's some people that think it's just going to go away tomorrow, and there's others that are just, you're going to have, is with any other issue, you're going to have people who have different opinions, and I get that, and that's fine. And I am not a medical professional nor trained to give such advice, but, I get the FOMO too. Believe me, I've got it too. I'm a grown male that sometimes acts like I'm 20, right? So, I'm young at heart, so I feel that, and believe me, I'm an extrovert who likes to travel. I'm about to go crazy. I get it, but at the end of the day, I've got my family, I've got food, I've got a nice house, so, compared to other people, I got it made right now, right? I've got to keep that in perspective, but I also know that I can't be going out and taking pictures. I can't be going out and adding to that, so I'm using pictures from past trips. I just read that one of my favorite hotels I don't know if you knew me or not, but I went to Hawaii literally this time last year, and the resort just posted they're closing down for the next few weeks. And I was like, oh, that's so sad. But obviously I understand why. But now I can go back and look at our Hawaii pictures. That was the best vacation my family's ever had. So people of this generation, you've already got tons of pictures. Use those pictures and just come up with a new hashtag that's throwback, whatever. So I get the FOMO too, believe me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
To all of my fellow students out there, let's finish this semester strong. Let's make sure that we do all of our work that our teachers are providing for us. They're trying to be very flexible in this time. And if you are having issues, please reach out to your teachers. They're in the same boat as us. Join me next time as I speak with a dog care and a daycare.